Welcome to the Gransberry Chronicles Weekly Pick'em. It's week 7, and your girl, the Gransberry, is on vacay. But you know what? I still had to come through. I can't leave the guys solo. That would be dangerous, especially with B. Pat and his wild picks, as he calls it, taking chances. Well, guess what? B's Pat chance of a lifetime paid off for Atlanta. They can't get any luck with the Braves. They just got barely one wing on that bird, but they found a win. B-Pat, congrats on the win. But just like the Falcons, you are still in last place. But as always, I got to give a shout out to start. You got my boy, Coach B-Pat, on your left. And then again, we have my boy, D. Jones, on your right. Now, of course, the order is still D. Jones in first, your girl in second, but I'm a winner anytime because I'm the first place woman every week, no matter what. So let's see what week 7 brings. We know that we had a disappointment on Monday Night Football for that other team up 45 South, D-Town. We don't know what happened. But before we get into your game for week 7, let's get those picks out the way for those games that everybody should have an idea that would win. But there is one I'm rolling solo. D. Jones, can you give us the get 'em out the way picks?
For sure. This week's get 'em out the way picks are, we got Philadelphia over the Giants. We all picked Philadelphia. We all picked Cleveland over Cincinnati. We all picked Buffalo to beat the Jets. Gransberry picked Detroit to beat Atlanta. Myself and B. Pat picked Atlanta to beat Detroit. Jacksonville, we picked you to go down against the Chargers, and we picked Kansas City to beat Denver.
All right, guys, I'm ready to get started into week 7. So, as always, let's talk about our other counterpart in Texas, and that's D-Town. Dallas is having a NFC East rival against Washington football team, who made it known this week that they're probably going to keep that same name going into 2021. So their season's probably going to look about the same, just like a team, barely a team. We're not sure. Hey, you're doing better than the Jets, right? So at any rate, Dallas is having some struggles on offense. They're having some struggles on defense. Okay, they're having some struggles as a complete team. We know some things or two about that, but Monday was quite disappointing for everyone. That's not what we expected. We expected a little bit more competitive game. All of us still picked the Cardinals to win. Our pick was correct, but we were very disappointed in the output on the field. I, again, am disappointed, but even this week, I'm going to give the edge back to Dallas on the road. I think that they should be able to find something. Look, that rifle was empty last week. Maybe they can load up on some ammo and take it with them. I don't know. B. Pat, what's your thoughts?
I'm gonna go with Butterfingers Zeke. He's been fumbling this year a lot, and I just think he's gonna have a nice bounce back game against Dallas. Against Washington, the football team.
Yeah, not too much to say about this. Like you say, it was kind of disappointing. But one positive thing, if you're a Dak fan, is it was exposed how much they're going to miss Dak and how valuable he is to that organization. But this week, I'm going with Dallas to beat Washington as well.
Well, it's a great matchup headed out west this week in Seattle versus Arizona. Of course, Arizona will be the home team. And while Murray made it known that he owns AT&T Stadium in Dallas, that's his reigning place. I know a little about that. Shout out to DeSoto U. But at the same time, I still believe that Seattle's going to go in there with the 1-2 punch, and that 1-2 punch meaning anything Russell to Metcalf and anything that runs up the middle. So I'm leaning with Seattle. Tell me what you're talking, D. Jones.
Oh, I'm with you on that. I'm going with Seattle on this. After the first week, I'm not betting against Russ. So it's not a whole bunch to say. Coach, it's on you this time.
After the bye week, I'm going Seattle.
Yeah, and on the bye week, he look. So as it's known, and across the league, you're not allowed to leave your home city during your bye week. So this is the first time they don't get to take off an extra edge. So I think most everybody will still be pretty much the team they were before the bye, just more rested. So I expect Seattle to go in, like I said, with a 1-2 punch. So our next game is San Francisco versus New England. That's a long flight for those guys in the Bay. Now look, as we said last week, it was the battle of the G's. We picked a different G, all of us. Well, that's probably why we should stick to only saying golf when it comes to the sport of playing it, and not to the person with the last name. So Jimmy G got the win, but it wasn't really Jimmy G that was winning the game, which we all know, which is why we're like, what do you see? I don't know, because if I was betting on a G again, it would be the Gransberry always. But I am going to definitely ride with New England. I think Cam and them will get their foot grounding. New England is still a hard place to play at with or without fans, so with 49ers having to take such a long flight, a long time to get there, I'm going to give the edge to the Patriots. Plus, I believe Belichick, that coaching, it don't take much to shut down Jimmy and force them to have to win with running the ball. So, guys, tell me what you think, B-Pat.
I'm going to go with New England with this one. After that disappointing offensive performance they had against Denver last week, I just think Belichick is going to get the win. They need a win for division purposes. I'm going to go ahead with New England this one.
Yeah, I'm totally agree with you on that. Last week was a field goal fest with Denver. And they got surprised by Denver kicker edging them out. So that was one that we did not pick, right? But yeah, we're gonna go back with Cam on this.
Well, New England, it's your bounce back game. Let's see what you got. So moving back to the West, it's Las Vegas at home against Tampa Bay, who's coming off a bang up against your boy D Jones. What happened there? Well, oh, that's right. Quarterbacks don't go against quarterbacks. He beat your other team into the ground.
He beat the team.
They forgot to get off the plane.
Quarterback was giving it away.
He was giving it up, tips or not. He gave it up. That's the way the stat rules, and hey, it is what it is. But they was flat out awful, and that's just from the bottom of my heart, awful. Mm-hmm. Well, I'm going to say that even with the unity and the greatness of Tampa Bay last week, I think Vegas is ready for them. So I'm going to stick with Vegas on this pick. I know maybe that's a chance. B-Pat, I don't know. B-Pat, tell me. Is that a chance?
That's a chance on your part. I just think Brady's going to win 2 in a row. I don't see Brady, taking a step back a week after actually doing some clicking with Gronk. He finally got Gronk some way it looks. They were trying to put O.J. Howard and Gronk together. O.J. Howard is hurt now. And I just think that Tampa Bay is going to go in there, and Brady's not going to be able to lose. And David Carr is going to throw some interceptions.
Oh, did you put an S on that?
David
I'm sorry, D. Jones.
I'm sorry, not David Carr. Derek Carr.
I was about to say it's the other one.
I was like, he throwing it from home? Because I was going through the TV screen. Look, we're going to give you a pass because, the other one did play for our team. And when we hear the names, we still going to have flashbacks no matter what we do. It happens all the time to Texans fans. That's exactly probably why we didn't draft them. But moving on along, D. Jones, please tell us your pick.
So I think Tampa Bay also here is going to take that momentum that they had from last week. They started the game off slow against Green Bay, but once they got the momentum, they got that train rolling. And as Coach said, Gronk finally showed up for them this year. So I think they keep that going, and I picked Tampa Bay to beat Vegas in a close game. I'm not going to call it the field goal game, but I think it's going to be a good game.
Well, moving into Monday's night game, we have the Chicago versus the LA Rams. Since I don't really know which golf wants to show up and play, and the Rams are at home, and, the Bears had to change quarterbacks and things like that. Even with a road game, not much, the fan side won't interfere with it. I may go ahead and give this one to the road team. I'm going Chicago on this one. D. Jones and B. Pat, tell me what you guys see.
Well, I'll go with the Rams on this one. I've been kind of picking against Chicago most of the season, and they keep playing very well. But once again, I think I'm going to pick against them again. I'm going to go with the Rams here, not necessarily because of their quarterback in golf, but because of everything else in that system. that's working right now. They have a good running game that's going. The receivers dropped a few passes last week, but I think they'll correct that. So I'm saying the Rams this week. What you got, Coach?
I see an ugly game this week. And Bears have been doing good against in ugly games. So I'm gonna go with the Bears. I'm gonna go with Foles. I'm gonna call this one a field goal game. It's gonna be an ugly one.
Oh my God. I was just about to ask you that. Are we going to have a field goal pick? I was like, oh, B Pat using the word close. Every time it get close, we know we can count on him to say field goal. Anyway, I don't really care. Um, Close game or not, I already made my pick. So when we get down to this nitty gritty, we got to get ready to talk about our favorite team. And ironically, this only happens every 4 years for my boy. Both of his teams play each other. So I
Mm-hmm.
gave you front and center on this one. I'm putting you on the hot seat from the start.
Oh, they too
Okay.
hot.
So your home team is at home, and your
Mm-hmm.
favorite NFC team is coming to visit.
Mm-hmm.
Where you stand? Where do you stand?
So if I'm gonna look at this fairly, um, the Texans offense has been performing very, very well the last couple of weeks, putting up 30 points since they fired OB. Uh, I think Green Bay's offense took a step back last week, but I think that's just a hiccup. I don't think it's actually a step back. With the Texans defense being really inconsistent, I'm going with Aaron Rodgers on this one. I think they're going to bounce back. He had one of his worst games ever, not just this season, but his worst games ever. He don't throw pick sixes. He threw a pick six. He threw his first two interceptions in the same game. The Texans don't get turnovers at that clip. So I think that Green Bay will prevail this week.
So, BPAT, before you talk, that's just an interesting comment that you said toward the end about Texans and turnovers, because they had a great game last week
Mm-hmm.
when it came to turnovers.
You're right.
Now, when they needed the stops, obviously they weren't there because the Texans took a loss, but the offense definitely made a point to, once they got going and clicking, they were putting points on the board
Yeah.
almost every time they touched the ball. So when you say that the turnovers, are you anticipating, how do you expect the line to look since they lost a lineman for the rest of the season, I think?
Oh, they'll be all right. I mean,
Okay.
the line they scheme the offense in such a way that Aaron Rodgers will get the ball out of his hands quicker. They'll move around. Their running game is on point. One of the best tandems in the league, if you ask me. The Texans have a hard time stopping the run. So it's like it's almost the perfect storm to where you get a quarterback that doesn't normally throw interceptions, and then a running game where the Texans can't stop. So I think that's just going to be in the end too much. Now I will say the odds makers are at least noticing the offense. That Green Bay is only a 3.5-point favorite, so they're respecting the offense to put up points, and I do expect them to continue to put up points on the Green Bay defense, which is not all that great. It's just okay. So I just think in the end, Aaron Rodgers is going to not make the mistakes he made last week, and he's not going to give them the ball as much.
BPAT, talk to me.
Being an elementary school teacher, you tell the kids you want some feel good medicine. Green Bay is about to get some feel good medicine because all they have to do is just give the ball to the running backs. The Texans can't stop a gap, can't tackle, can't deflect the pass. I don't know what to expect. I love the Texans; they're my team, but and it's my only NFL team, really, to be fair. But the feel good medicine, Aaron Rodgers, perfect storm, like Deep Jones said, and I think Green Bay is going to pull this one out until the Texans learn how to stop a turtle coming through the line. Something they got to do something about the defense. We know Watson's gonna put up points. That's what he did this past week. But Aaron Rodgers he's pissed. We can't hear you.
Oh, my bad. See, I was so ready to talk smack, I forgot to turn my camera on. I mean, my mic on. But guess what? The mic is hot now. You see that G in the corner? That G is for Gransberry. And that's the only G I'm celebrating this weekend. So whether my mic is on or not, it's about Gransberry, not Green Bay, not feel good medicine. Don't you ever come on this show talking about feel good medicine. You better feel good, take a dump, and dump a W this way for the Texans, because that's all I'm taking this week. You heard that? The mic is on. The mic is hot. Did everybody get that? All the way from Mexico? Okay? Did you get that? Do you understand the words coming out of my mouth? Win. Okay? That's
Okay,
it.
Troy
That's all I got to say. No, my mic is hot. You heard that? Now let's move it right along, cause I ain't down with this. Wait, I gotta understand. Do you understand what they just tried to pull on me? Moving right along, we got a good division matchup: Carolina versus New Orleans. You know, Teddy's getting some things going, but I think the Saints are still a little bit of the top team right now that's controlling their own destiny. So I'm going with the Saints at home for New Orleans to take this win. What's up, D. Jones?
I'll keep this real quick because I talked a lot on the last one. Coming off the bye week, Drew Brees. That's it. What you got, Coach?
New Orleans.
All right, well, that's not much to talk about. We all rolling with the South Side. Okay, and headed to our game of the week. Two AFC teams. One is our division, guys, but as always, I don't know what B. Pat's going to tell us, because normally he's pretty good about never picking the division opponent. But after we kind of got stumped on by the King Henry, because you just got to go and get a man his respect. You can't even try to deny it on any level. Even if it was against the team who has one of the worst run defenses, he was solid. That's how he should look against one of the teams with the worst defenses. So at that point, he did his job and then some. I hate he was setting records on us. Oh, Lord. But at the same time, I believe the Steelers going to still have a hard time with him too. And they at home, they building momentum. They still undefeated. I just don't think the Steelers are going to come in and take all that edge away. So I'm rolling with the Titans on this one. I don't want to, but I just got to make that pick. B-Pat.
Pittsburgh. Reason why I'm picking Pittsburgh this one, you got Ben Roethlisberger, who's actually playing very well. The Steelers' defense hasn't played bad at all. The Titans' defense, last week, they gave it up to Watson and different pass plays and different runs here and there. But you at least have Pittsburgh to have. You got Fitzpatrick back there as a DB for Pittsburgh, who got at least defend that play action pass. I'm going with the Steelers on this one.
D. Jones.
Yeah, I agree with Pittsburgh on this pick. It's just hard for me to pick against those guys, man. They're so solid. They play so disciplined for the most part. I think they'll have a game plan for King Henry. Their secondary is one of the top out there. So I think that Tannehill will have a hard time with that secondary. He won't be able to just key in on Brown and throwing 50-50 balls and hope he come down with it. So yeah, I'm gonna go with Pittsburgh on this one.
Oh, so your girl ended it going so low. Now look, we done gave you our rundown for week 7. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you enjoyed part of my view. I wanted to show you the ocean, but then it kind of blacked me out. And I know you'd rather see my face while I'm telling you my picks, right? For sure, right?
For sure.
But I want to remind you that early voting is still going on, and it's very crucial to exercise your right to vote. I hope all of you that are registered know your polling locations and are taking advantage of your opportunity to stand up and be heard. I have already finished my early voting. My voting is counted for, and I'm excited to see you do the same. And so shout out to all those who have purchased a vote shirt. We will be getting those out to you shortly. And next week, we're actually going to give away some on our show. So make sure you are subscribed to us, because we're going to hear you talk to B-Pat one more time, because he's going to tell you where you can find him when he's not on the Gransberry Chronicles.
My Coach B-Pat on both Instagram and Twitter.
D Jones, tell everybody where they can catch up with you.
You can catch me on IG at djones9804 anytime. Vote.
That's right. Now we're almost at the midway point of the NFL season, but there's one midpoint that will never end, and that's the midpoint opportunity for you to get the Gransberry Gridiron Guide and make sure that a friend of yours, a cool family member, gets that insight to the beginnings of football. That's right. First downs, flags, prepare for travel now. Read up on those tips. All those things and more are available at thegransberry.com by yours truly, of course. And guess what? D Jones is a contributor to that book. So, shout out to my boy D Jones, always riding to support. So, if you need to get that book, look, it's only $15. It's not a hard investment to make things fun and exciting for you and your friends. And as always, you can find me at the Gransberry on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. And like I always say, catch you next time.